Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the sandbox that is the world, the playground of Rob Pratte. The Rob Pratte Weekend Sunday edition underway, February 23rd, 2014. Tough day on the ice yesterday for Team USA. Coach Dan Bousman, Mr. Ray Shiro, as they go down to the Finns, 5-0, fail to get a bronze. Today, Crosby and Company, Canada, at 7 a.m., takes on the Swedes for the gold. We're going to be talking about a lot of things on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. We will be discussing the Olympics a little bit, but today, it's a day that I wait for. It's the Daytona 500. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Austin Dillon with the famous number 3 on his car from the pole. And we've got Kristen Voda from Fox coming up today at 11 o'clock from Daytona on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. I absolutely love the great American race. All right, now let's talk something else that is the buzz, or the Berg, not just racing, but racing of a different kind, away from them, especially if the swarm is coming at you. Ladies and gentlemen, in studio, we are so happy to have him back, Steve Repasky, and he has got, of course, the book Swarm Essentials. He's from Berg's Bees, and he joins us, News Radio 1020 KDKA. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Ralph. How are you?
It's great to have you here today, and tell me about the book. Let's begin with Swarm Essentials, because before Doug gets in here and we open it up for phone calls and we get too far into the interview, I want to make sure that we give the book a little love.
Sure. The book is, as you mentioned, entitled Swarm Essentials. Never in my life would I have thought that I'd be an author at this point in my lifetime, but I have a couple of good friends that are into research. They're researchers with different universities in entomology and beekeeping. I had casually mentioned to a friend of mine once that writes books. I said, you need to write a book on swarming, because amongst beekeepers, swarming is the act of a colony reproducing on a large scale. So they essentially split in half the colony leaves and finds a new home. It's common practice in beekeeping. And he kind of laughed at me, and he says, nah, he says, you do it. And I blew it off. I said, forget about it. And, I'm not an author. And over a period of a year or two, I kept bugging him about it, and he kept telling me, you do it. So one day we sat down and we talked about it, and a year and a half later, here we are with a published book entitled Swarm Essentials, and it's doing very well amongst the beekeeping world, so I'm pretty excited about it.
And by the way, they've got a Facebook page. We'll be telling you about that. We've got a site to where you can get the book. We'll be telling you about that, all sorts of ways. But what's the best way for people to get their hands on this book?
The easiest way is they can contact me directly through my website. Excuse me, it's too early in the morning here. My website is meadowsweetbees.com. That takes you to my personal website. You could just click on products and scroll down to the bottom, and there's a hot link there. You could purchase it right online, and I'll get it shipped right out to you.
All right. Now, how in the world do you go from working for the Game Commission and the biology aspect of it to the love of bees? Were you doing some of it while you were working there?
I was. Not a whole lot, because my job with the state at the time was taking up quite a bit of time, and I certainly loved that. I went to Penn State and got my degree in wildlife management. My dad was actually, still is a beekeeper, so I was around bees for a long time as a kid. But budget cuts took care of my position with the Game Commission, and I was looking to do something else. And why not follow the love of my life, so to speak? And opportunity knocked, and I took it, and it's growing, and it's doing well for me.
All right, Steve Repasky is here. Doug Oster is going to be in here at 5:30. We're also going to give you a chance to call in, and if you ever had anything on your mind to talk about this amazing, is it a hobby? Would it be a hobby?
It can be a hobby. There's guys that do it full-time. I tell people it's my full-time hobby.
There you go. Okay, full-time hobby. If you want to talk about it, we'll get to you as well, too. Stay where you're at, just in the way. Sunday morning, the Rob Pratte Show on KDKA. Steve Repasky is here from Berg's Bees. And by the way, Facebook page, you can find it. It's up on my Facebook page. You can also go to meadowsweetbees.com. That up on the Facebook page, as is their website. So everything that you need, Facebook, Twitter, find me, and you can get everything you need to know about Steve. Steve, let's talk about the mission of what you're trying to do with your company. What is the mission? Obviously to educate people, but you make a good product too. Tell me about that.
Sure. Well, Berg's Bees, I'm currently the president of Berg's Bees, and we were formed back in 2008 as a way to promote beekeeping in an urban environment, but also promote sustainability in urban agriculture. So we do everything from school group programs to tours of our community bee yard that's in Homewood, teaching classes. We're out there. We're spreading the word. We're producing honey. We're producing bees, and we're producing beekeepers. So it keeps us quite busy.
This has been a pretty tough winter, and we're going to get into that a little bit more when Doug gets in studio after the news update at the bottom of the hour. What do you do in the winter time when you have these bees, and where do they go? I mean, I know they're in their hive, but are they outside, inside? What do you do with them?
Well, the beekeepers try to take vacation. That's our slow time. But the bees themselves, they actually will overwinter in the colonies themselves. They're able to generate their own heat. They actually keep the hive surprisingly warm, about 85 to 90 degrees in temperature.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. They actually disconnect their wings from their muscles, and they shiver. And that shivering creates a heat, which allows them to maintain the warmth within the hive. They feed on the honey that they store. These cold temperatures certainly have an impact on them, but if the bees are kept healthy going into the fall, many of those colonies will survive the winter and start producing honey in the springtime.
Now, as far as being able to buy this local product, how do people know they're getting local honey? And obviously, I'm sure some of the local supermarkets carry it, but just give us the advice on how to go out and buy local honey.
It all comes down to being an educated consumer, Rob. I mean, you really have to know, just like anything you're buying in a grocery store. We always tell folks to get to know your beekeeper. And that's possible through Berg Bees. People are welcome to contact us. We could put them in touch with several different beekeepers in the area. We have Pittsburgh's great for beekeepers. We have them all over the place. So they're everywhere from Aliquippa to Butler, down to Monongahela, out to Monroeville, and everywhere in between. So they're out there. And the biggest thing is and when you're at farmers markets, that's probably the best place to buy local honey, because the guy who's selling it behind the table 9 times out of 10 is either the beekeeper or is directly related to the beekeeper. So farmers markets is the way to go. Supermarkets, some of them do carry some local honey, but if you're going to be safe, buy it local, buy it fresh, buy it at a farmer's market.
Now you got to realize, I'm kind of learning as we go here. What does EAS Master Beekeeper mean?
Sure, that's my title, one of my titles. EAS is Eastern Apicultural Society. It's a regional beekeeping society. It's probably one of the biggest ones in the United States, and they have a certification program that is the Master Beekeeper program. And there's only about 120 master beekeepers in the United States that are certified through EAS. Only 19 in Pennsylvania, and I'm one of those 19. There's 3 of us in Western Pennsylvania. But what it means is we go through a very extensive testing process, and ultimately, in the end, the certification basically says that we have an understanding of beekeeping biology and beekeeping management practices at a college level.
All right. Now, how long does it take to become a master beekeeper? And how do you go about that?
Quite a bit, actually. They require a minimum of 5 years of beekeeping experience, but it often takes a heck of a lot more time than that to really get an understanding of management and biology of the honeybee. But you go through all just your training on your own. You're reading books. You're getting your skills honed. The actual testing process is made up of 4 parts. There's an oral interview, a field test, a written test, and a fielded test. You have to score 80% or higher total to get the certification. And the success rate is actually less than 20%. So of all those that take it, less than 20% of them will actually pass the certification.
What's your background have to be? Obviously, biology is involved there somehow, but can you learn this even if you weren't a good biology student?
Absolutely. Beekeeping is a lot hands-on, and it's a lot of reading. Doug Oster will be here soon. He started without, he's a gardener, ultimately, but when it comes to beekeeping, it's a different ballgame. But if you read up and you could do some hands-on work and understand the ins and outs of what's being taught to you, anybody can be a beekeeper of any age. I just had a young lad take our class a few weeks ago. He was 11 years old. He's keeping bees. And I've had folks as old as, 60, 70, 80 years old who just looking for something new to do and take up their time, and they're keeping bees. So it's a nice hobby that anybody can do on any level. You could have 1 hive, you could have 1,000 hives, and you can make it what you want.
How much of the local product is really becoming a part of everyone's daily diet, if you will?
It should be a huge part of everybody's diet. Honey is very healthy for you. It's full of vitamins and minerals and amino acids. It's antimicrobial, so it's help you keep down your viruses and colds and things like that. But it's catching on. The local food movement and the natural food movement is really, especially in urban areas, picking up quite tremendously. So I get calls more and more every year that people are looking for local honey, fresh honey that's not processed or heated up, so that they could actually use it, for their own health.
All right. Again, how can people get the book?
The book, you can get it right through my website, meadowsweetbees.com. Click on products and scroll to the bottom, and there's a hyperlink right there for it. It's $20.